Hey, welcome to Rockoli, YouTube's best channel for record collectors. This week, I want to talk about the 2014 Jimmy Page remasters of the Led Zeppelin catalog. And I want to answer the question, are they any good? Stay tuned.
Get ready for Rockoli, bringing music to you. Rockoli, rock and roll, metal and country too. Get ready for the record of the week. Get ready for Rockoli.
So it's been over 6 years since Jimmy Page started his massive reissue campaign of the Led Zeppelin catalog, known as the 2014 Remasters. This was the first time the Led Zeppelin catalog had been reissued since 2001 by Classic Records. And the Classic Records reissues are highly coveted and well regarded in the vinyl community. Classic Records obtained the master tapes and cut the lacquers directly from the tapes. Mastered by Bernie Grunman, very, very well regarded. However, those went out of print, and so then it was another 13 years before we saw Led Zeppelin reissued on vinyl. Now, 2001, that's kind of early vinyl resurgence. And as some of you know, Classic Records eventually folded. They were just a little bit ahead of their time. Rumors began swirling that Jimmy Page was doing these, gonna do a reissue, including vinyl, so CDs, vinyl, however you wanted it, you could get these. And it was assumed that, at least in the vinyl community, that, the tapes were going to be used. And that's how the rumors originally were, that these were going to be cut from the tapes. And even some of the press releases and things like that were worded in a way that these were, remastered from the tapes. So Michael Fremer, audiophile, music guru, who's a writer on Analog Planet, he had an anonymous source tell him that the Led Zeppelin 2014 reissue campaign, the vinyl in particular, would be cut from a digital file. So while they were remastered from the tape, the vinyl would be cut from that digital remaster. And there's a stigma against digital records. Why? If you have a band like Led Zeppelin, who at the peak of their fame is also at the height of analog, so why, and you have these great tapes, why wouldn't you cut the record from the analog source? Analog playback, analog source, keep it all analog. Everyone expected the tapes to be used. However, Michael Fremer reveals they're not. And in my opinion, the part about this anonymous source that really was maybe like a subconscious point of negative connotation that got attached to these remasters is they didn't use the tapes because it was too expensive. When I hear that, it's kind of jarring, because it's like, this is one of the biggest bands in the world who are known for their excess and lavish spending at their peak of their fame, right? They had their jet airplane and just the wild parties and the destroying of hotel rooms and just writing blank checks to fix all of their destruction. It just seems so odd that expense would be in the way of them using the tapes. The 2014 reissue of Led Zeppelin, they start rolling out, and reviews are generally good. I mean, for the most part, everywhere you look, the reviews on these albums are just, people are through the roof. They really like how they sound, except if you go to, say, Analog Planet, the Steve Hoffman forums, there are definitely some naysayers on there that just do not like the way these sound. And again, I just think that there's something to, I just wonder if the reaction of those folks would be different had they said, we're using a digital source because we're concerned of the condition of the tapes, or in order to preserve the tapes. Not to say that's an excuse or a cop-out, because I think the Doors, whoever protects their catalog, were really adamant against using a tape, said that they were just not in good shape. But then later on, Chad Kasem of Analog Productions was able to convince them to use the tapes, and did a massive reissue campaign that was very, very successful. And those are considered the best sounding versions of the Doors catalog. So anyway, I just find it really interesting how, one person can listen to the 2014 remasters and think and say that they hear things they've never heard, and the clarity is so fantastic, and then you'll have someone else say that these are the worst sounding versions that they've ever heard, and to stay away. So, my opinion, I think the 2014 remasters are good. They sound really, really good. They are very, very clear, ultra quiet. The bass, very, very solid bass on these. They're not overly bright. But I will say the dynamics aren't the most dynamic. The soundstage isn't massive, but it has a soundstage. And again, I'm generalizing because each album is a little bit different, and it really depends on what you're comparing it to. So if you have not a single copy of Led Zeppelin in your collection, I would not avoid the 2014 reissues. In fact, I think they're slowly going out of print. You'll see on Amazon that a lot of them you're not even able to get anymore. And eventually they will be out of print. When it comes to the 2014 Jimmy Page remasters of Led Zeppelin's catalog, it's all about what you compare it to. I do have some of the classic records reissues, and they're really good. They're fantastic. I think, if you're nitpicking, they can be a little bright, but I think the 2014 remasters hold their own. I like the bass better on the remasters. The clarity is there, and the price point is just so much lower. On those classic records now, they go for $100 plus, and now $100, it's probably not going to be in good shape. So you're looking at a couple $100 per record, where you can get the 2014 remasters for $25-$30, maybe even less if you get it secondhand, mint. And there's insane value there. And so even at the time when Classic Records reissued their LPs, they were $35, which if you adjust for inflation, that's around $50. So, I think Jimmy Page did a great job for Led Zeppelin being such a big band, keeping the price point low to reach all fans, regardless of their economic status. Whether that was his intention or not, maybe he was just trying to increase the profit. I think it's insanely accessible and great sounding records. And yeah, you could, each record case by case, some are better than others. I think some of the later reissues are better than like the first 3 or 4, but I think he did a good job. Well, that's it for this time, guys. I'd love to know what you think. If you have the 2014 reissue, do you like it? Do you think it's good? Did you send it back? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know. You just had a healthy dose of Rockoli. I'll see you next time.